Good morning, traders. It's 8:02 a.m. right here in downtown Chicago on Thursday, the 10th of August, 2017. Thanks for joining me again. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, the market is trading lower. In fact, the global markets are trading lower on jitters from the this rhetoric and confrontation going on between the United States and North Korea. North Korea, the latest statement was released yesterday, where North Korea says that it's launch capable, nuclear launch capable for missiles to Guam, which is a U.S. territory, and and that they're putting a plan together, a launch plan together. So this is games with words. I don't take this lightly. Uh, uh, it may seem like a joke, but nuclear war is not something you open a a conflict with. It's a closer. Um, in any case, this is causing across the board. It's causing the markets to take a position of safety. Somewhat doesn't seem like an urgent thing, but in Europe, the Euro stocks again taking a hit, 25 points, 0.72%, followed by the Nasdaq, which is down 38.5 points, 0.65%, and then the Russell down 5.9 or 6.1 points, down 0.44%. The leader today is crude oil. Crude oil breaking after consolidating all nights, breaking to the upside, and is moving away from the high volume node. I did not have a chance to show you the crude oil chart. We're starting to move away from a composite high volume node, and we're moving towards 50, 60. It's the next potential test area. Gold is also higher, almost at 1,300, trading at $1,291.30. Um, it's trading against highs right now. So that's the where the market stands. News flow overnight. Mostly, again, the jitters on Korea. Also, the UK and Scotland have failed to reach an agreement on Brexit. This opens up the door for Scotland to have its own referendum again on whether it wants to disconnect from the United Kingdom. Um, and in Venezuela's inflation rate climbed by 26% in July to 248 or 249% as conflicts continue there. And then finally, Facebook is launching its new service, TV streaming service called Watch. It is getting into the war uh, on um, on TV streaming services. We'll see how that goes for that stock. It's a component of several of the indices. As far as releases, economic releases, this morning we had initial jobless claims came in a slightly worse at 244,000 versus 240,000. Continuing claims 1.951 million versus 1.96. And then looking ahead at what we're expecting for today, I'm seeing just natural gas at 10:30 Eastern, and then the monthly budget statement at 2 p.m. As far as speakers at 10 a.m. this morning, we're looking for Fed Speaker Dudley, and then after the market, we're looking for the release from NVIDIA. So that's where we stand. Let's take a look at what we expected yesterday. Move this along. Here's the primary expectation yesterday was for responsive buying. I looked for the market to push into the prior day's range, and then fall back down, and then continue to push into the prior day's range again. The main target being 24.7250, 24.73. The secondary hypothesis was for a push early into the prior day's range. Again, the prior day's low is right here. Push into the prior day's range, fail, get us an impulsive move, and then our job, um, our job is likely to um, um, jump on for the continuation move lower. Okay, so that's hypo 2. That did not work. Hypo 3 is a consolidation and then an impulse later in the session, later in the morning, um, into the prior day's range, aiming for 24.75. What we got yesterday is hypo 1 and hypo 3. So um, yesterday we did get the slow consolidation move up into 24.72. So that's hypo 1 here. This is exactly what we expected. Responsive, responsive, push up, responsive, and then ultimately get to 24.72 right here. This would have been hypo 1 from yesterday. And then we got this little run on the close, which took out the overnight high, fulfilling the overnight stat for us, and pushing to 24. The key resistance above I discussed yesterday was 24.75, a key number, and we ended up finishing up at 24.74 even for the high yesterday. The 24.75 comes from several places. In case you were asleep over the last week or so, 24.75, as I outlined, has a lot of opens around there. So these green dots are the opens of any given session. A lot the market has reached equilibrium in the 24.75 area, but also 24.75 if you take the move, including yesterday's low. Once that was put in, 24.75 became 24.74. Became the midpoint back on this move down, which you found that out after the session opened. But the key element, of course, is an auction-based price, which was 24.75, having auctioned or opened and attempted to move down from there so many times. So that's where we ended up yesterday. From there, the continuation of yesterday's trade, the market was unable to hang on to that 24.74 and just started to sell off into the Asian session. The Asian session has been absolutely and completely dead. We've had 1.5 days in the ES and the Asian session over the last few months, but we've got some movement as this affects North Korea and is a threat to the whole area. We moved down immediately on the reopen and through the Asian session went sideways, and then we continued to move down on the European session. So what we have here is somewhat of a B-shaped profile, long liquidation, markets unable to sustain the buying that we had yesterday, and what we're likely to see is a continuation move from the impulse down. So yesterday this looked like a corrective move, so we had the impulse down and then we traded down overnight. We had the continuation move and then we had the higher low. So we had a continuation move, then we had the higher low, right? And so we expect this higher low to consolidate in this area and keep moving up is the normal, is the most likely action of this auction volume yesterday. As you can see, this is the 20-day average volume, the thin yellow lines, and then the actual yesterday was higher pretty much the entire session. Pretty good participation yesterday, but what it looked like to me is that we were in a corrective kind of move, and now what we've done is we are trading against the lows of yesterday. So this is likely to open tests, try to push through, and then come back and recover this fairly balanced profile left behind from yesterday. Yesterday's profile is pretty decently balanced, and it's likely to reattract prices back up. So what am I expecting this morning? Well, let me show you crude before I forget. This is what I was talking about in crude. Crude has been in this high volume, this blunt high volume node right here. We've been stuck here for some time. Okay, so since the first day of August. We had the big sell-off right here. And since the first day of August, we've been sitting sideways and we are stuck in this composite zone, this composite point of control right here. And then we're starting to move away from that. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see crude is starting to move towards 20, 50, 60. It's likely to see some pretty decent resistance. Pretty decent resistance once it punctures through the prior weekly high, which sets it off on a potential run here. But this is where we stand right now with crude. It's not able to hold on to the lower prices, and it keeps putting in higher lows and higher highs over the last couple of days, and it's starting to recover from where it was at the end of July. So crude for me, unless something changes, it is to the long side's the stronger side. Um, as far as what I'm expecting for today, I'm expecting an open auction. I'm expecting the market to make an attempt above and then push lower to test this area below, and I expect it to find a base, put in a higher low, and then come back and then start to push towards 2465 and the value area high at 2469.50, which is also the MC point of control in this area, to finish somewhere in yesterday's profile. I expect it to be in balance today. Because of the crisis here with North Korea, a lot can happen, but the expectation is that we would balance inventory overnight. Inventory overnight is short, almost 100%, and it's likely to balance up a little bit. But I expect it to test below the impulse low, below this low down here, and then come back in. It's not likely to find precipitous selling below there, so I expect it to come back in, put in a higher low, and then start to push back up into yesterday's balance zone. The alternative is an open auction that moves up immediately to 2465, sits sideways for a while, attempts to move higher, gets to 69.50, and then once it does that, it puts in a failed attempt at the high, impulse down, and then we start to make our move, which is my preference, start to make our move lower into the 2457.50 MC point of control, and then potentially continue lower towards 2450 strike. So this would be the ideal situation. This is the situation that is initiative. So we start responsive, we start responding and coming back into the auction, but we fail to maintain those prices, and then we start to get initiative, and then that way we have a market that is making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, and continuing lower. This again brings volatility in, and it brings opportunity for gain and loss, depending on how you're managing risk. But this creates more opportunity for us. Again, this is another occasion where a news feed is really important. It's really important to hear it first or as early as possible, to at least step out of the way. And if you need a recommendation for a news service, let me know, at least a trial. But to me, I have multiple news services turned all the way up, and I'm waiting for somebody to say something because the market is sideways unless it's driven by news currently. It's not operating under its own power. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Good luck today, and take care.